Firecrackers rang out outside. A group of people pushed the door open and entered my sister's room. They were stunned. Two naked people lying on red marriage bed. Everyone stared in disbelief. Then all eyes turned to me, because one of the people in that bed is the bride, my sister. The other is my fiancé, Phoenix Walker. My mom was the first to react. She screamed and shook the two of them awake. Angrily grabbed my sister's ear. "Emily, are you crazy? Today is your wedding. How could you do such a shameful thing? Aren't you ashamed?" She slapped Emily hard a few times to wake her up. But there was not a trace of remorse on her face. Opposite, a smug satisfaction flashed in her eyes. Emily immediately fell to her knees. "Mom, stop hitting me. Phoenix and I really fell in love. I don't want to marry Xanet. Please let me marry Phoenix." I saw Phoenix's ears turn red. I know he's awake, but since he still has a hint of pride, he pretended to be asleep, even pulled up a blanket when no one is watching. My mom was angry. "Emily, what are you talking nonsense? Phoenix is your sister's fiancé. Well, I've slept with him, and everyone saw it. If you don't let me marry Phoenix, I'm going to jump into the river." Emily shot back, looking completely defiant and reckless. Just then, someone came in and announced, "The groom's motorcade is just 2 intersections from the hotel. The bride needs to be prepared." My mom was almost hysterical. "Why choose today, your wedding? Come and perform this humiliating gimmick. How should I explain this to Xanet?" Emily pointed directly at me. "Just let Lauren marry him." When I heard that, I was shocked. Emily was also reborn. Emily and I are twins. Because of our beauty, the matchmaker almost smashed our front door. When we were 18 years old, support the education of the younger brother and help him get married. Our mom arranged a match for both of us, with 2 different series. One is Phoenix Walker, the son of the village chief. The other is Xanet, the richest man in the village. In my past life, Emily didn't hesitate to choose Carter, even though Phoenix is a college graduate. He's ugly, and his family is poorer than ours. The dowry they offered was borrowed money. The village chief was an honest man, upright but bankrupt. Emily didn't even think about him. Instead, she married Carter. But it ended in disaster. They divorced within 2 years. As well as after. Carter's business is booming. He eventually became the richest man in the country. And Emily's life falls apart. I'm the one who married Phoenix. After graduating from college, he got a job with a government agency and rose to the top position in just 5 years. Because of him, I became the envy of the whole town. That's why in this life, Emily didn't hesitate to choose Phoenix. Listen to it all. My mom sighed and turned around to persuade me. "Lauren, Emily did something wrong. But the Bennetts had already paid the dowry. We used the money to pay for your brother's tuition and their background. We really can't offend them. The Bennett family has a bad reputation in the village. Carter's father was imprisoned for murder a few years ago. Carter, he himself dropped out of high school after graduating and began to run away with the gang. He was always surrounded by thugs. His mother was rumored to be mute and never left home. His sister has a short temper. She doesn't behave like a serious young lady at all. Despite being rich, they can only ensure an engagement by offering outrageous dowries." Everyone's attention shifted to me. They all know how much I love Phoenix. They're waiting to see what I'll do. To their surprise, I didn't hesitate. I picked up the bridal veil and wedding dress. Then I walked into the locker room. Carter was in the clothing business and often goes south to buy goods. Rarely spend time at home. He just wants to find a wife to take care of the family. Neither my mom nor Emily cared who he married, as long as someone occupies the position. So, when the wedding veil was lifted, he saw that it was me. He didn't react much. That night, he walked into the room, smelling of alcohol. Before I was even able to open my mouth, I saw Xanet pull a big one, coming out of the duffel bag. "I'm going to go south for a while and leave tonight. You'll sleep alone," he said, and he pulled 5 pull out the $100 bill from the bag and hand it to me. This is your living expenses for the next month. Take good care of my mom and sister. I stared at the $500 in shock. Put it in perspective. Our family of 6 spent almost no money. $20 per month. See the look on my face. Carter let out a short laugh, then walked towards the door. I finally came to my senses and called out to Carter. He turned, frowning. What? Inadequate. Maybe it's his years of running with rough crowds. But despite his good looks, Carter exudes the breath of a grumpy person, like a mafia boss. Still, I stood up, rummaged through my dowry, and pulled out a tube of ointment. It's the rainy season in the South. You may get eczema. If it works, use this. He froze for a second. Then the ointment was taken from me. Look at me with a complicated expression. That lingered for a long time. What else? He asked. I nodded, then shook my head and hesitated. Finally, I plucked up the courage to ask. Can I use a portion of this money to buy books? Rebirth. I know it's better not to rely on a man for anything. I've been doing well in school. If my mom hadn't forced me to drop out of school, for my brother's sake, I will also take the college entrance examination. It's the desire for education. It gave me a soft spot for Phoenix Walker. In my past life, he has a college degree. But what I didn't know at the time was that he was a liar. His grades have been terrible. He only went to college by preempting someone else's position. When I think about the moment of everything I have endured after marrying him, I got goosebumps. Carter must have misread my reaction and softened a little. It was as if he had accepted my request. The next morning, I cleaned the house. After breakfast, head to the county seat. I bought a whole set of high school textbooks from a bookstore. The owner is in such a good mood. He threw away a copy of Don Quixote for free. He said the book had just come in. This is very rare in this country. I smiled politely. Rare? Probably not. More likely, he imported only one and no one wanted it. When I got home, I saw Carter's mom in the living room, drinking water. I greeted her politely. Hi, Mom. Her face flushed instantly. She didn't seem to know what to do with her hands or feet at the end. She just nodded and tried to slip away from me with her mug, go back to her room. But as she walked by, she stopped abruptly. Her eyes were fixed on the book in my arms, curious and excited. Notice what she's staring at. I picked up Don Quixote and handed it to her. Did you like this book? You can have it. I just wanted to be closer to Carter's family. I never knew what would happen next. Her eyes were red, just in the next second. She covered her mouth and began to cry. I was a little panicked and didn't know what to do. Before I even have time to say anything, a shrill voice sounded behind me. What did you do to my mom? I turned around and saw a girl with greasy hair and ill-fitting clothes stand in the doorway. That must be Carter's sister, Abby Bennett. Abby walked over angrily. Protect her mother with one arm. She glared at me as if she wanted to eat me alive. You shameless bitch. Are you bullying my mom? If you move a finger at her, I asked my brother to throw you into the woods, then feed you to the wolves. I didn't even get a chance to explain before Carter's mother spoke and said, not her. I'm just emotional. Abby and I were stunned. Mom, you can talk, we said in unison. Eyes widened in disbelief. Half an hour later, I finally learned the truth. Carter's mom can speak fluently. All these years, she was just pretending to be dumb because she doesn't want to deal with people. According to her, she despises socialization and only likes to read. But since Carter's father was put in prison, her children never understood her. The villagers constantly laughed at her because of her family's reputation. Here's why. She was increasingly reluctant to leave the house. Finally stopped talking completely. She can talk, she just doesn't want to. But because she never went out, she hadn't read a new book in a long time. Listening to her words, I was stunned. In my past life, I often hear Emily complain. Her mother-in-law is intellectually disabled. Whenever she talks about it, she gloats. Proudly speaking, she can't speak. So I asked her to bring me tea and do housework. Just give her a steamed bun. She is basically a free maid. Until now, I realized how cruel Emily was. Carter's mom. It's not that Emily is unaware that she has been abusing her. She just chose not to make a fuss. Listen to it all. Abby and I, deeply sympathetic to the woman in front of her. We immediately asked her to write a book list. The next day, I took Abby back to the county seat with me. We bought a bunch of books. On the way home, I noticed something. Strange Abby. She kept her eyes on a boy. Stand outside the bookstore. I've seen it like that before, and know exactly what that means. Tease her. I asked, "What's wrong?" Crush on someone. Her face turned red. None of your business. If you like him, just do it, I laughed. This sentence made her completely flustered. He didn't even like me. He thought I was ugly, she muttered. In my past life, Emily once mentioned that Abby was like a toad. Lust for swans. She fell in love with the top students in the county. But after being rejected, she cried at home every day. Emily was angry and introduced her to some of the thugs in town. He didn't just sleep with underage Abby, but also cleaned up the entire Bennett family. That's what it is. Finally uncover all of Emily's horrific behavior. To Carter. He was furious and divorced her on the spot. When I recall it all, Abby had already walked out of the bookstore in a rage. Depressed, I chased after her and said, "I can help you win him." She stopped, her eyes wide open. True? I nodded. First, I took her to a public bathhouse for a good bath. And then, we bought 2 new sets of clothes to replace her dirty, inappropriate. And then, we went to a salon and gave her a cute bob haircut. She asked, staring at herself in the mirror, "Will he like me now?" I shook my head. This is just the first step. What is the second step? Back to school. I've asked around. The boy she likes is ranked first in his grade. If you want him to notice you, you also have to be number 1. Abby's shoulders drooped. I can't do that, I smiled. I can help you. From that day on, a new sense of harmony arose between me. Carter's mom and Abby. I bought books for his mother. She also helped me with cooking and household chores. Meal. The 3 of us would sit together in the living room. I tutor Abby with her homework. Carter's mom was quietly reading a book. One night, Carter came home. He saw the scene. He cleared his throat. Abby immediately ran up and hugged him. "You are here." He looked her up and down in disbelief. "What happened to you?" Abby giggled. "It's all thanks to Lauren." Carter looked up at me, and I blushed. Quickly turned around and went back to my room. Soon after, he followed me in. "I heard about everything you've been doing these days. Thank you for taking care of my mom and sister." I waved him away. "We are now married. Your mom and sister are also my family. There is no need to thank me for taking care of my family." He paused for a moment. And then suddenly, "You let me grasp the feelings." From that day on, his attitude towards me started changing. The man he had once softened with indifference and alienation. Whenever he's not on business, he went home on purpose. Every time he comes back, he brought me a trinket or a gift. Over time, we started to feel like a real couple. That's when I realized, Xanet isn't that scary, as everyone molded him into that. In fact, sometimes he's even a little cute. Before I knew it, the day has come for us to visit our families. After the wedding, I wore a beautiful one. New outfit with a couple of large bags and small bags. Just as I arrived at my parents' house, I met Emily, who holds an inconspicuous bag. About 2 pounds of pastry. She was dressed badly because of the scandal at her wedding. She and Phoenix did not have a formal ceremony. The moment Emily saw Carter next to me, she lifted her chin proudly and stride in with a superior attitude. But to her surprise, my mom didn't even look at her. She walked straight to us. Opposite. She took my gift and immediately began to make a fuss about Carter. Ask him if he has eaten, how the road is, and if he is tired. Emily couldn't take it anymore. Mom, aren't you going to ask how Phoenix is doing? My mom was forced to answer half-heartedly. Oh, how about Phoenix? Emily lifted her chin even higher. He had just received his assignment notice. He will report to the county tomorrow. I have a feeling that he will be a big man in 5 years. At that point, I will be Mrs. Phoenix Walker. No one in the room reacted to this at all. She awkwardly turned her attention back to Carter. So what's so fun in the South? I could tell she was getting angrier. Lauren, she called my name out of the blue. I looked up and sensed that she had something to say. Let's go make lunch. In our family, men are not allowed in the kitchen. So I followed Emily into the house. I just crouched down and lit the stove when she leaned in and said, "It must have been hard work to take care of Bennett's. His mom and sister weren't entirely normal." I knew she was trying to stir up trouble between me and Carter's family. "It's not difficult at all," I replied. His mom and sister were very caring. They helped me with cooking and laundry, especially Abby. She always shared her treats with me, and I can sleep as long as I want. It's much better than starting at 5 a.m. every day. Take care of a room full of people. Her face turned gloomy. You will only understand what it is to be a daughter-in-law. Really means if you live in a Walker house. Phoenix's parents and his 2 younger brothers. It's all about Emily. She has to do all the dirty and tiring chores. It's only been a few days, but her hands were already calloused. She bit her lip and let out a low, bitter laugh. I've heard that Carter left after your wedding night. Go and do business. You know why he likes to go south so much? He had a guy named Zoe White on his team. He liked her. I was stunned. Zoe White. Carter's second wife. In my past life. It's true. From a small town, the richest entrepreneur in the country. Zoe has always been by Carter's side. Seeing my reaction, Emily continued. He's nicer to Zoe than he's to you. Always let her come close and give her everything he has. There's a saying, right? Where the money is, there is love. My chest tightened. I bit my lip hard. Just then, the kitchen door suddenly opened. Carter walked in, his face gloomy. Emily immediately shut her mouth. She doesn't have the fondest memories of him. I could tell she was scared. In our past lives, when they divorced, Carter used several methods to deal with her. Since then, even though she is destitute and struggling, she didn't dare to mess with her ex-husband anymore. Carter walked straight up to her and leaned in. Something whispered in her ear. Emily's face turned pale and then flushed. Her fists clenched. "You bastard!" She snapped and rushed out of the kitchen in a rage. I stared at him, dumbfounded. "What did you say to her?" He looked calm. "I told her if she had been talking nonsense, I'll cut her tongue out." I don't even know how to respond. Just then, my mom called from outside. "Lauren, stop bothering to cook," Carter said. "We all went out to eat." I replied stiffly, "Okay," and turned away. But Carter strode over and grabbed my hand. "He asks you what you believe." What she said. "Do you believe them?" I shook my head, "No." "Then why do you look so unhappy?" I thought about it for a while and finally said, "Carter, if you really have feelings for Miss Zoe, I'm willing to give way." Carter immediately tensed his nerves. "Why do you think so?" "There was nothing between me and Zoe White. I only let her manage the money because she's good at finance. She also runs a business. Except for her, there were a couple of other people in our group. When we go south, I don't like her. I really don't." His tone was so eager that I was taken aback. We've been living together for a while, but it was the first time he had said so much. Coherent. I nodded slowly and muttered to myself, "If you've ever fallen in love with her, I agree to divorce you. I want to say yes. Please, don't treat me the way you treated Emily in your last life." But before I finished speaking, a pair of warm lips pressed against mine. The heat poured out of my mouth, right to the tip of my ear. After kissing, Carter still maintained his usual serious expression. "I'll just say that I don't like her. I like you." My head is spinning. I'm not sure if it's that kiss or confession. From that day on, Carter began to distance himself from Zoe. He got back the money he had entrusted to her, then handed it to me. Say I'm supposed to be the one who manages it. Now, the fear is that too much has changed. Could affect Carter's fate as a future tycoon. I tried to convince him not to cut ties because of money. Zoe's has a real knack for making money. She's supposed to be the one to handle it, I argue. But no matter what I said, Carter refused. I want to do the right thing. Married man. Finance should not be confused with other women. I remember reading the news the year I died. Real estate prices in the capital have skyrocketed. So I took Abby with me to the capital. Part of the reason was to show her the top colleges. Carter's savings were used to buy several apartments. After we returned, I've heard that Carter isn't planning to work with Zoe. No more business. It makes me a little anxious. I remember that he made a fortune in our last life. Opened a garment factory. So I suggested he build one in our hometown. I even recommended a well-known designer. He was also encouraged to study real estate. Yes, I'll admit, it feels a bit like cheating. But I really don't want Carter to miss out on his future, just because of me. He began to be busy managing a garment factory. And I focused on learning. College entrance examination. When Abby was in her senior year, Carter and I sat down and told him, I also want to go back to school. He raised his hands in support. It was my own family who tried to dissuade me from doing it. You're not young anymore. What's the point of going back to school? Carter is doing so well, they say. You should give him a child to bind him. That's how you keep men. That's when I realized Emily's married life was not going well. The first year after marrying Phoenix, the Walkers were very nice to her. But from the second year, they began to pressure her to have a baby. Around that time, Phoenix was transferred to work in the city. Emily wants to go with him. But the Walkers didn't want to lose their freedom. Housekeeper, so they refused her request. She cried every day, complained that she rarely even saw Phoenix. How could she be pregnant? But even if they're together, it's okay. Phoenix is infertile. I didn't listen to my family's advice. When Abby started her new school, I signed up with her. After a year of hard work, both Abby and I were accepted into top colleges. Once she went to college, Abby finally started dating the boy. She's wanted it for so long. She hugged me and cried, "If not you, I don't even dare to dream." We enjoyed a whole year of college life. At the same time, Carter rose with the wave of the new economy. In just 1 year, he soared from being the richest man in our village to the richest man in town. When I went home for the holidays, I haven't even had a chance to meet Carter yet, because I saw Emily first. She stood at the front door. For a moment, I could barely recognize her. She lost significantly her weight. Her clothes could not hide the marks on her skin. Her eyes were filled with fear. Once a beautiful, energetic girl, now she has completely lost her brilliance. But I'm not surprised. In our past lives, I was also almost ruined by Phoenix Walker. After Phoenix found out she was infertile, he doesn't even pretend to be her husband anymore. At work, he is like a liquor to his superiors. When Phoenix was in bed and couldn't take it out on me anymore, he found another Violet's. He became bloodthirsty and even took pleasure in beating me. At first, he will stir up disputes just to find an excuse to attack. Later, it only takes a look. He will throw anything within reach. Sometimes it's a cup, sometimes it's a chair. As soon as he saw me, he grabbed my arm. And, Lauren, you are also born again, isn't it? I studied my breath and replied calmly. What do you mean by being born again? I don't understand what you're talking about. But Emily wouldn't let go. She knelt in front of me. I know you are. Otherwise you wouldn't be so easy to marry Carter. You won't know how to help him so well. Please, sister, help me. She only called me. What is my sister begging for? Even if we are twins. Just because I was born a few minutes early, I became my sister. Our parents favored boys. So she and I have been completely dependent on each other since we were kids. I really see myself as her older sister. Always think of her first, always give in. Even in our last life. When Phoenix almost beat me to death. When he was going to divorce her. I dragged the broken body out of the hospital. Then he knelt down and begged Carter for mercy. Otherwise, understand Carter's temperament. He would never let everything go because of the slightest fear. But I never expected that. It's the sister I sacrificed everything to save. Hate me in the end. She envied me so much that she wanted me to die. It's all because I wore clean clothes to visit her. When she was sick, she poured her own blood and insecticide into my water. Before I die, I saw her smile so brightly. We're all sisters, Lauren. Why you can live such a good life? When I suffer like this, it's not fair. If I have to die, then you come with me. Just thinking about it hardened my heart again. Emily, I can't help you. You have to find someone else. No, you can't. Just walk away, she cried. Her tears and snot soaked my clothes. Look at your life right now. Big villa in the city. Your own car, dressed in designer brand clothing. Your skin is more radiant than ever. That should be mine. I gave that to you, sister. You and I exchanged lives, and now you owe me. You have to take responsibility. I snapped. Swap lives. What the hell are you talking about? Do you remember how you ended up marrying Phoenix? Her face froze. Of course she remembers. She secretly seduces him, drugged him, and indulged things until she finally lies in his bed. Gossip spread like wildfire through the village, even if I ended up marrying Carter. The whole scandal still falls on me. People were whispering behind my back and pointing their fingers at me. Curse me. I'm also a victim. So why did they throw my name into the mud? With them. Emily stopped crying. Her eyes widened in shock. Just as I was about to let her go, she hugged me tighter. Lauren, I know you have a way to get him to stop hitting me. You've got to tell me. If you don't, I'll expose what Carter did. Past. I was stunned. What he did. According to her, when Carter first started his business, he smuggled illegal goods. If she reported him to the police, he will definitely be arrested. I don't know whether to trust her or not. If she's really guilty of anything. About Carter, why didn't she report him? In our previous life, when she was so miserable, Emily explained that when she and Carter divorced, he has solved the problem. I thought back to the timeline for a moment. Emily's words add up. For Carter's sake, I let out a long sigh and told her, if you want to escape Phoenix, there's only one way. Go to the police station and report that there is a corpse buried under the persimmon tree at Walker's house. In my past life, when I finally couldn't stand Phoenix's beating anymore and tried to divorce him, I went to his office and overheard something shocking. Everyone there called him by a different name. Mark Chong. That's when I discovered the truth. Phoenix didn't get into college on his own. His father used his position to steal Marco. Zhang's position, let Phoenix take his place. Mark is also from our village. He has no parents and disappeared 3 years ago. Learned this. I overheard a conversation between Phoenix and his father. Mark discovers the truth in Phoenix's junior year and confront them. They killed him. Bury him under a persimmon tree in their yard. I would like to report it to the police, but they found out about my plan. At the time, Phoenix held a senior position, and since I showed up at his workplace, perhaps he needs to protect the image of his beloved wife. Or he has some other reason. But after that, he stopped hitting me. On the contrary, he kept me by his side all the time. Even if he's not there, someone was watching me all the time. See how desperately Emily wants to escape him. I really believe she's going to call the police. But unexpectedly, not to report him. She told Phoenix everything. 2 days later, she rushed over and said, "Our mom was sick. I need to accompany her to the hospital." I got into the car with her. But soon, I noticed that we were off course. "Where are we going?" I asked. "This is not the way to the hospital." A sense of dread crept into my chest. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I was stunned. "What do you mean?" The car was parked in front of a dilapidated shack, where birds don't lay eggs. When Phoenix comes out of it, I understood everything. I stared at Emily in disbelief. You didn't go to the police. She pouted. If I did, he would be locked up. I just don't want him to hit me all the time. I don't want to lose him. You are crazy. I never thought she'd come this far. Just to keep their position. She was willing to do something like that. You betrayed me, I said, trembling with rage. She looked at me innocently. You were the one who told me about it in the first place. Don't worry, Phoenix just wanted to talk, I snapped. And you actually believe he's killed people before? Emily shrugged as if it wasn't a big deal. At that moment, I realized how terrible she really was. The door creaked open. Even if I tried to escape, I couldn't subdue a man. I was dragged out of the car and forced into the shack. The room was full of tools. Phoenix grabbed my face, his expression contorted with anger. How do you know my secrets? I was trembling with fear. I don't know, he said with a laugh. It doesn't matter how you found out. You're not going to leave here today. He pulled out a rope and began to tie me up. A wave of despair swept over me. I silently cursed myself for being naive. In my past life, I had already been betrayed once by Emily. How can I be deceived again? Tears streamed down my face, just as Phoenix raised a knife. Then take it down towards me. A scream echoed from outside. The door was kicked open with a thud. Several men rushed in and knocked Phoenix to the ground. Then Carter walked in, silhouetted by the light. The next moment, I collapsed in his arms. Feel his warmth. I couldn't take it anymore. I burst into tears. Carter gently held my face, apparently heartbroken. He touched the wound on my skin. His eyes were full of pain and tenderness. Lauren, I'm sorry I'm late. I shook my head. No, you came at the right time. From the side, Phoenix suddenly screamed. What do you think you're doing? Do you know who I am? I'm someone in the city. But before he finishes his words, Carter kicked Phoenix hard. Phoenix screamed in pain, tears streaming down his cheeks. Carter, how dare you do this to me? Do you believe I won't tell my dad? Carter grabbed him by the hair. Then he slapped him hard. His voice was cold. Your dad? The police have gone to your house. He was arrested. Phoenix's eyes widened. That's impossible. Carter's eyes narrowed. All the people you might mess with. You chose my wife. Soon, the police arrived. They must have found the body, buried under a persimmon tree. They came specifically to arrest Phoenix. When they were ready to take him away, he suddenly broke down and ran forward, grabbed Carter's pants and refused to let go. I was supposed to marry you. I am your real wife. Please help me. I don't want to go to jail. Carter kicked him away, his face contorted with disgust. What are you talking about, my wife? It's Lauren. You ruined your own wedding. No one can blame but yourself. But I regret it. Right now. You didn't even register your marriage then. You like me first, don't you? I was wrong. I'll never do those things again. I'll take good care of my mom and your sister. Just stay with me. Opposite. He chattered like a madman. But Carter's expression didn't even flicker. Get lost. Never show yourself in front of me again. Eventually, Emily was taken away. Carter took me home. He was silent the whole time, his face stiffened with anger. As soon as we arrived at the house, I was about to get out of the car. When he took me in his arms, his friends immediately started making fun of us. I blushed, buried my face in his chest. A minute later, I was pressed against the mattress. Carter circled over me, but didn't move again. Instead, he looked at me closely. Lauren, what the hell is going on? When Emily came to me, I sensed something was wrong, so I secretly sent Abby to tell Carter everything, including the truth about the body under the persimmon tree. Carter knew a lot of people and had a lot of connections. It didn't take long for one of them to report this. They've seen me. Get in. Head out into the mountains. That's how he found me. And saved me in time. But he still couldn't figure out how I knew Phoenix's secret, or why Emily would say these strange things. I knew I couldn't lie to him. He's too perceptive. So I told him everything. By the end, my voice trembled. Believe me or not, I really lived 2 lives. It felt like a dream, but it was real. The moment I finished speaking, he pulled me tightly into his arms. I could feel him trembling. I gently rubbed his back. I asked what it was. How could he do that to you? He whispered. How can he hurt you twice? I didn't realize it until then. He was angry because Emily was trying to hurt me again. I don't understand either, I muttered to myself. When we were kids, Emily used to be so cute. Whenever she gets something good, she always shares with me. In our last life, even though Phoenix is the son of the village chief, he's ugly. And this chief was notoriously upright and poor. Their families are worse than ours. They even had to borrow money to buy engagement gifts. Still, when I get sick, he gets sick too. If I sprained my ankle, he would hold his foot and say, Lauren, I feel like my injuries are more serious. Perhaps it was these memories that made me tell Carter everything I know. Carter stared at me, his eyes filled with sadness. So I didn't treat you well in my last life? Not exactly, I said. In that life, we were basically strangers. There's no reason for you to treat me well. I reached out and patted him on the head. For some reason, he began to feel more and more like a giant dog. I don't even know if in this life or not, you'll still be the richest person in the country. Be with me, I said in a mocking tone. Carter lowered his head and kissed my hand gently. I will do my best. Don't worry. Everyone who has hurt you, I will not let them go easily. I nodded, then hesitated before asking. Emily is true about you. He sighed and patted me lightly on the forehead. When you care too much, you think too much. I am a law-abiding citizen. With a sigh of relief, I finally exhaled the breath I had been holding. As long as he's safe, that's all that matters. Less than 2 months later, news came from prison that Phoenix was dead. They said he slipped, fell, and hit his head. But the truth is, he defended the wrong people in prison and was beaten to death by a group of prisoners. I asked Carter if it had anything to do with him. He smiled and shook his head. I told you that I am a law-abiding citizen. I happened to visit some old friends before he was locked up. I've heard rumors that Carter once had a friend who went to prison for accidental homicide. Back to those days. The administration of prisons is not so strict. It's not uncommon for someone to die inside. Ever since Emily, there was no actual involvement in Phoenix's crime. Her sentence was lesser. But even in the detention center, she suffered a lot. When she was finally released, she's a completely different person. Mentally unstable, out of touch with reality. A moment ago she would say that she was the wife of a billionaire. The next moment, she claimed to be the mayor's wife. Her family realized she was not feeling well and sent her to a psychiatric hospital. This time she came to me and wanted me to visit her. I pretended not to hear. A few days later, she jumped from the hospital building. They said she had been muttering to herself until she died. Let's do it again. Life goes on, quietly and steadily. Soon, Abby and I both graduated from college. Well thought out. I decided to pursue a master's degree and then Ph.D. Carter said he supported me. At least that's what he said. But on the day I entered the school, he was dressed in a particularly fashionable way and insisted on driving me to campus in person. Second year of graduate school, Carter made it to the national wealth rankings. We had a baby together. Abby and her husband became civil servants. Their careers are thriving. The biggest surprise: Carter's mom published her first novel at the age of 50 and become a full-fledged writer. In this life, I still live honorably, but I am much happier than I was in my last life.